Hi, my name is Nate Zarlengo. I'm a 16-time Ironman finisher. I've also raced in the Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii. I've raced Boston Marathon, and I've also guided a blind athlete in 2 separate Ironman events. Just last weekend, I ran the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim, which is about 51 miles and 11,000 feet of climbing. I'm a father of 3. I work in construction, and I love this sport. I love everything about it. Mental grit, mental fortitude are the 2 toughest things to have in this sport, and we're going to talk about it.
It's so key for us to focus on the things that can go right and not the ones that can go wrong in our racing. In addition, for an age grouper or a pro, what I say to myself is never let success get to your head, but never let failure get to your heart. And even in Melbourne recently, I failed with a capital F. I failed nutritionally, mechanically, but upstairs is where I didn't fail.
Meredith Kessler had some great points. She is one of the best seasoned pros in the field, and even she talks about how she fails. But what is really neat about her is her strategy and her mental process of knowing, hey, everything's not going to go right. And even us as age groupers, we know things aren't going to go as planned. So something that you can control is your mind. A lot of things you can't control is weather. Sometimes your bike conditions that will mess up your race. But how you deal with those things mentally and your ability to continue to push forward in adverse conditions is what's going to make you successful.
And so it's a matter of having the tools to fix those flat tires. And so, for example, before the swim, really anxious, pull out the relaxation tool. I'm starting to have doubts part of the way through the bike because you still have a long way to go. Pull out the confidence tool. In training, you don't feel like getting up at 5 in the morning when it's raining out. Pull out the motivation tool. And so having those tools, and the great thing about the mental toolbox, it doesn't weigh anything. So it doesn't make your bike heavier. Mm-hmm. And so having those available is really important. And they're really not that complex. They're pretty simple, but you have to have them and you have to use them.
So Jim Taylor had some phenomenal advice, having a mental toolbox. And it's kind of like if you're in construction, which I am, and you're gonna go buy these tools before you get to your job. You're gonna have this toolbox, the right hammer, a level, and not just any level. You gotta have the best level. You gotta have a great tape measure. You gotta have a great hammer. You can't just go buy these cheap tools. So just like that in triathlon, we're building this toolbox prior to this race day, and that's where your consistency comes in. Your consistency in training and building up, going into with these threshold intervals, these VO2 max, and seeing where you fail and how you react in those situations and what you can do better. When I'm doing hard sessions and I get in a race situation where I'm might be battling somebody in the swim or the bike, I know I can hold a certain effort for 4 minutes mentally. I know I can get through that. So visualizing what you've done, this toolbox that you have, you're able to take that toolbox, stick it in your mind and say, okay, I can do this in race day. When I start to feel bad, I'm gonna step up, I'm gonna take some deep breaths, I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna be happy about it, I'm gonna put a smile on my face.
And what about actual, irrelevant of the expectation? Like, as athletes, I think especially lots of our viewers will have race day nerves, and irrelevant of what level you're racing at. I think I still get race day nerves, whatever the race is. Do you get them, and if so, how do you deal with those nerves, irrelevant of the pressure, just the actual
but they're things that fuel you as well. So you have a lot of coffee in the morning as well, so it kind of heightens that. But I'm all about positive energy in the morning, and I know that sounds very hippie-ish, and it's not at all. But I go around hugging everyone I know in transition, and I kind of have a laugh with people, and people think I'm not taking it seriously and taking the mick, but that's just my way of if I have fun and I'm easy breezy, then I'm gonna have a good day. And so that's what I think that's awesome to hear.
So how can triathletes overcome race day nerves? I, for one, get super nervous during race day. My stomach will get knots. Sometimes I even get nauseous. and I just get just discombobulated almost. And so I've learned over 16 Ironmans and numerous other races that I've done that I need to be one of the first people there to be able to make sure all my stuff is prepared, and I've done everything that I can, that everything's right. It's something that I can control, and I'm not rushing, because getting in a rush during race day just gets me more anxious. Figure out what works for you. You know, if you like getting hyped up, that's great. For me, it's relaxing music, staying in control, getting everything ready in my control.
But I did meet your wife at, right? I met her, right? At Birds Hill, I met her.
Birds Hill, yeah.
And she was like into it. She was telling me all about your progress, and it was great. She's definitely a strong supporter of yours. So it was good to have. You need someone like that, right? And it does. And in your case, it's your wife. But I would argue. So I have my wife supporting me a ton, but I have like Charlie to talk about runs with, and then I have like my parents keep coming to all my races, even though I'm in my 40s. Like they keep coming to all my races and supporting me, and they want to be a part of it. So I think all that's important.
Yeah, it is. And having that support, like it's just, it goes so far. And you guys have talked about, you know, stress-free training too. And like, you know, being able to train with and have that support, knowing that like, you know, you have the time and you have the backup to be able to go out there and spend the time doing it. I think it just helps so much.
So let's talk about support groups. I am so grateful for my family. They 100% support me. My kids love what I do. My wife is my #1 sponsor and the greatest moral support, and she pushes me to be a better person and a better athlete. I will train with my kids as much as I can, either if it's down in my basement, you know, when I'm riding my bike, they might be just walking on a treadmill, or just come in and talk to me. And just knowing that they support me and they love me, it just gives you that extra boost and that extra strength, and seeing them out on course is the favorite part of my day. And I do this to show them that I can do hard things, but having them there makes me a better person. And so finding people that can support you, and even if that's training partners or training buddies, to hold yourself accountable, you know, to make sure you're getting to the gym on time and doing your workouts. And if that's a coach, that's great. But finding your support group and your family is key to having a long and successful career in this. You can do it short term, but if you don't have that long-term support, it's not going to work. We've talked about mental toughness, mental fortitude, mental strength. How do you get it? Bottom line, it's going to take work. It's going to take consistent hard work before you get to race day. You need to go to the store, get the tools, and you're going to learn during the race, oh shoot, I don't have the right tool. So you go back, you reassess what you need to do better and how you need, and what right tool you need to get. Maybe you need to work on your breath work or your mindfulness, or maybe it's just physical and you don't have the physical strength to do it. So you're constantly reworking these things, and it just takes experience. Being consistent is the best tip I can give you. I'm Nate Zarlengo. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at xatefrog, that's XATEFROGG, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.